record button. I won't be on long today over here. I thank you all for tuning in. What's going on, everybody? I try to get on the air. Honestly, I try to come on when nobody's watching. And the reason for that is because I don't like to watch the board so much, people clicking on and clicking off. And the things I talk about are what God, in almost, well, he gives me an ultimatum. You can either do it or don't do it. That's up to you. But I choose to do it because it brings peace to me. So I wanted to talk about it's a dream that I had, and it wasn't really a dream. It happened on yesterday, but everything kind of fell in line, and last night and the night before that. So I want to talk about meritorious manumission. If you're not familiar with that, just stay tuned for a minute or come back and listen to it a little later on. But I want to give you this cautionary word first. Another breach of Facebook occurred in the last week. That breach, 540 million Facebook users' data has been exposed to whomever wants to have it. So I encourage you all to change your password as soon as you can, but also caution you that any messages you may have sent through Messenger, any naked photos, anything like that, they're out there now. So God willing, none of it will be used to put us in a compromising position. But that is where the stance is right now. Facebook, 540 million Facebook accounts, users' accounts have been compromised. I want to say that first because there are a lot of messages being posted without a face, a lot of friend requests being sent out from people who have already sent out requests. So be cautious in terms of that. Again, if you like what you're hearing from me, I appreciate it if you share the information. We're going to go into meritorious manumission, and I want to tell you what that is first. Then I want to relate it to today in three different forms and let you decide for yourself. The room is open for whatever you want to say. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Say what you want to say. Just be courteous and kind about it. That's it. Now, during enslavement period in African Americans, the Meritorious Manumission Act of 1710 was enacted in Virginia. It was the legal act of freeing a slave for one, doing a good deed, as defined by the national public policy, and could be granted to a slave who saved the life of a white master or his property, or to a slave who invented something from which a slave master could make a profit, or to a snitch, someone who told on a fellow slave who was planning a slave rebellion or was planning to run away. These were the ways in which slaves were allowed to get through the glass ceiling. Why are you talking about this today, Brother Johnny? Because what you're seeing today in society, in 99% of the cases, are you seeing black faces of people? And hey, Ashiana Jones, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. I hope you get something out of this message today. This is a God-filled message. I got confirmation from it this morning from someone who called me and gave me some information I want to share with you all today as well, before I finish, God willing. So, meritorious manumission. Slaves were allowed to be free from bondage for particular reasons. Today, how does that affect us today? We vote people into office. We listen to music, entertainment. We go to different religious institutions because of the color of the person's skin. But these people have been indoctrinated, most of them, 99.9% of them have agreed. We're going to use our influence, our face, our power to further perpetuate a lie and to further protect Caucasian people who don't need your protection. They're solid. They got a world. They don't need it. But we feel as if though we have to protect them. And again, this is not racism. Racism has to be abolished. But prejudice, bigotry, and things that you've experienced that have hurt you and harmed you and you need to learn from, yeah, you keep that. But systematic racism has to be abolished. I want to go into politics first, and I want to play you something from Dr. Claude Anderson. He's an economist. And if one thing in life that I really wish that I could have been, it's an economist, to understand economy and how money works and how stocks work so that I can not only help myself but help my people in the process. So I want to play this first, and then after I play this, we're going to go into the topic. This is Dr. Claude Anderson talking about politics. Listen closely.
Just from 1500 to 1660, as an example, they shipped 5 million black folk out of Africa just to Central America down here to dig.
That's not the one I want. Let me play this one. Yes, this one. Just a minute.
For gold and silver. And then 150.
Here we go.
Just to show you what they were doing, just from
I did a study in 1960. In that 1960, we had approximately 103 black elected officials in the entire United States. I did a social discomfort indicator study to find out what the conditions were of black folk were in 1960. I looked at the unemployment rate, the dysfunctional schools, dysfunctional family, joblessness, unemployment, income, everything, median family income. Then I waited 30 years until 1990 and did the exact same study to see what had happened. Why? Because in 1990, 30 years later, black folks' number of representatives in elected office has gone up over 9,000%. I say if black folk have gone from 103 elected officials to 9,000, boy, we must be doing well in the country. I did the same exact study, discomfort indicator study, and found out that not only didn't black folks progress, guess what? They went backwards. They went backwards because there's no connection between putting a black person in office and getting benefits. None of them are going to do it. As soon as a black person gets elected to office, the first thing he's going to do is violate the sworn oath he just took. He'd swear it over and say, I'm sworn to get in office to represent those people who elected me to office and serve them. As soon as a black person gets to office, first thing I say is that I'm here to take care of everybody.
All right. I'm going to stop it right there. Dr. Claude Anderson is an economist, black economist, very, very intelligent man of whom I get a lot of advice from. And he's talking about how politics and black politics, how the promises of black politicians prior to going into office, but the intent of the politician once they get into office. And I want to caution us to something. When you're dealing with money, when you're dealing with job and religion, the color, that's not what you should be looking for. You should be looking for the content of the individual. What do they offer you that benefits you and benefits society as a whole? Color has nothing to do with that. If there is a white Republican that does what I think should be done in the community and makes promises and keeps the promises, I'm gonna vote for the white Republican. If there is a black Democrat that makes promises and the moment he's in office, he reneges on those promises, gives you a party, gives you a good time, but has an underlying agenda, I can't go along with that. Yesterday, I was sitting on the chair. I dozed, I just fell asleep because my sinuses and everything was bothering me so much. And I had a vision. It was a dream. It was clear as a bell. I was under the bridge on 95, exit 119 yesterday. And as I was trying to walk across the street to get under the bridge, a car, boom, zoomed past me in the dream, right past me. I didn't pay attention to the car much. I went under the bridge. I saw people under the bridge, a lot of homeless people. I'm like, homeless people aren't under the bridge in Manning. Later on, it turned out that a car was being chased by the police, and I think it knocked the lights out at Walmart and all of that stuff. Confirmation that what I was seeing was legitimate. In that vision, I was right in a private meeting with elected officials yesterday. I know who they were. I heard the conversation. It wasn't good. Meritorious manumission. It's when your people plot against you for their benefit, the benefit of their children, and the constant protection of the system that is in place. Now, black politicians have disgraced and used black people long enough, in my opinion. The Democratic Party, the same thing. If you're not going to do right by black people, if you're not going to do right by all people, black people in particular, because we are at the bottom. If you're not going to do right by the people, You better be careful. This is a warning to you, not from me, but from God. You better be careful how you treat the people. My people are dying from lack of knowledge. God knows that. No matter where you go in society, one will be raised, 2, 3, and 4 to tell the truth, regardless as to what it does to their life, to the life of the people around them. There's a bigger purpose. I didn't ask to go into the meeting yesterday, but I was in it. And I promise you, unless they change things, you will see something about it in the paper within the next month, month and a half, or 2 months. They're playing chess with our lives, and we allow it. We don't have to allow it. I know this is going to hurt a lot of people because you think everything black is good. But white folks don't play checkers. They play chess. They only play checkers for leisure. But life is a grand chessboard. The moves are strategic. Lives will be lost for a reason. Say that again. When lives are lost, it's for a reason. It's not a game. It connects to something else. I'm going to leave that right there. You think about what I'm saying. Think about it. Now, once in office, the only thing you end up getting, as I said, is a good time. The true benefit of the black politician only goes to a chosen few who may not even agree with the politician or the political party. There are secret Republicans who back Democrats because the Democrat gives them favor. Your and my children don't get the same treatment in life because theirs can make a phone call and get out of a situation that you and me can't get out of. It's true. It's horrible. But I don't know any individual who shouldn't be upset when someone else's child, I'm getting the phone calls already, when someone else's child can receive benefit and yours has to go through the prison system, whatever system they have to go through. I apologize about that, but it's going to keep ringing and probably going to ring off the hook today. But I'm staying in the guidelines of what I was given permission to do. I'm on it. I got it written down. I'm not going to go off track with it. I asked permission to do this today. There are black Republicans who claim to be independent, but again support the Democratic Party. It's a game. It's being played on us. And even the great, I'm going to have to answer this call. Lord have mercy. Just a minute. Just a minute. I am very, very sorry about that. Gosh. Can I resume? I don't think I can resume. God, see if I can pause this. Can I pause it? Yes. But things happen. So let's see. I got my recorder back on. Yeah. If there is a problem, again, I'm going to re-upload this. Look today, but I think I'm on. Yeah. If there is a problem, I'm going to re-upload this and in its entirety, God willing. Now we were talking about politicians and politics. Again, you're dealing with narcissistic people who have a plan. They have a plan, and their plan is that they don't mind. Yeah, the plan is that they don't mind at all throwing people under the bus. They have no problem with that. Once I find where I need to be, I'm going to get back on this broadcast. So y'all be patient with me. There we go. This is me. Plan. They have a plan, and their plan is that they don't mind. Yes, there we go. Listen, I am not in the business of saying things to entice. I'm not in the business of saying things to. The plan is that they don't mind at all. I'm not in the business of saying things to make you agree with me. Sometimes certain pills are very difficult to swallow, and it's okay if you can't swallow it. I mean, I am not the entertainer. I am not the motivational guy to tell you, the day is the day you can do this and do that. I am not concerned whether you are on a broadcast with me. That is not my concern. My concern is that the message gets out to the people that want to hear it, that need to hear it, that know that what's being said is the truth, and that will spread that truth. That's the only concern. Jesus Christ did not walk around looking for friendship, saying things that kept you happy and peaceful. That's in the book. The Bible talks about people who said to the preachers of the word, preach to us good things. Say to us things that make us feel good. That's not me. That's not my job. So we're talking about Meritorious Manumission, and we were talking about politics and politicians. Of course, you're not talking about every single politician, but we're talking about political moves being made that influence the way people think about where they are in life and influence the way people react to things in life because we think we're being watched over, but in actuality, we are not. Meritorious Manumission. This was act of 1710 that is still very active today. And we talked about politicians and how to be careful when you're looking for a politician to put your vote behind, because the color of their skin is not the point. The point is that they do what they promised. Now I want to go into entertainment, and this particular part bothers me the most. It bothers me the most because we are allowing our children to listen to, look at, be a part of anything entertaining by people who are paid to entertain, but these same people don't allow their own children to become a part of what they're using to entertain. So when you see an exceptionally talented person, whether it's knowledge or talent in singing or basketball or whatever, they are scoped out. They are evaluated. They are tested to see if they are eligible to be allowed to break the glass ceiling. A lot of times the men are either forced to denounce their own race by marrying outside of their race, perpetuating the image of black corruption, or showing over dedication to the survival of the white race. This is Meritorious Manumission. It's already embedded in our brain and in our hearts, and it's just a part of us. When you see Denzel Washington is in movies now, Equalizer 1, Equalizer 2, great actor. His movies are where he is protecting people of other races with his life. As he do these shows, he is allowed to do bigger and bigger roles. Same thing with Oprah Winfrey with her Harpo production company, The Color Purple, Greenleaf, anything that has to do with the corruption of black folks, anything that has to do with the weakness of the male, the conniving of the female, they're perpetuated. She's in billion-dollar status now. Jordan Peele is getting a lot of attention now with Get Out and Us. Of course, he's married to a Caucasian woman. That's his business. But you have to look at the things that puts us in a better position, that puts us in a better position in what we desire to do. Some people are doing the right thing, but they are not liked. They are not liked, and people say, well, I was with you 1 minute, but I'm not with you this minute because of what you said or what you did. because they want everything that come out of your mouth to sound like it's good. Even when it comes to the ex-president Barack Obama, he was selected to be the president before he was elected to be the president. He was very entertaining. His entertainment was his presence, his walk. We talked about the way he walked, how cool, how sexy the president's wife was, Michelle, the children. That was entertaining to us. We never asked about the policies that he endorsed, he backed, he signed, how they benefited the whole. But when he became president, people were falling out and crying, saying that everything was going to change. But as he left the office, nothing has changed. Nothing. And even Obamacare, which was really the Affordable Care Act, is being nulled now by Donald Trump. Meritorious Manumission. People who are willing to either save a white life, invent something of value, tell on others, or continue to lead the people astray from the knowledge of the truth. Now let's go into rap music and hip hop and the other things. There is a song out now. It's called "Living My Best Life." That is a remake, the beat of "I'm Curious," and that song talks about I'm curious. I want to know what's on your mind. I want to get to know you. Blah blah. This song talks about living my best life, but the lyrics are living my best life. I could give a damn about you niggas. Then it goes on to say, if you balling off of your food stamp card, and if you got money off of fraud, this type of mindset goes into the minds of our children to do devilishment, to do wrong in order to achieve what these songs are saying. Future talks about drug taking, Lil Wayne, Percocet, Molly's Percocet, being a thug. Future's daughter is well taken care of, her future. Lil Wayne's daughter the same. The Migos, bitches, hoes, thoughts all through their songs. Dr. Dre, his daughter just got into USC. Ice Cube, who ran down on MC Hammer for being a sellout and all of these other things, now has the video industry locked down. His son in the industry. All of these things that was condemned at one time, now they are a part of. So your and my children are walking around all day listening to all of this violent music, all of this thug music, tattooing their face, tattooing their breast, tattooing their butt, stripping, dancing on the pole, whatever it takes to make $1 because of the influence of these people who are paid high dollars to keep us submissive. No different than a politician. Meritorious Manumission. And the other thing that they're doing frequently now is that they are giving these sports challenges. Sports shows constantly being bombarded on the television to our children and to keep the adults lethargic mentally. But they are using the best that we have in order to keep us dormant. Now I want to play something for you from a movie. It's an old movie called, I think it's called Tricky Baby. If I'm not mistaken, it's an old black exploitation film. So I want to play this clip for you real quick. Then we're going to come back in and we're going to close. Listen to this.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has it. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Now I'm going to stop it right there. This is a conversation being held by the upper echelon in a home as they are eating dinner, but one of the white men at the table actually hangs with black people. So he is offended by the conversation, but they're talking about how to keep control over black people. You get the best out of them and you control them. So there's always someone scouting out for the best of us to put us in their schools, put us in their mindset so that we no longer see the urgency of doing for ourselves. Economically, we are broke. As Dr. Claude Anderson said, 60 years had passed from, and the political scene went from 100 blacks to over 6,000 blacks, but our condition had not changed. The stuff that I'm telling to you, maybe after I'm dead, will make sense, but someone has to start to tell it. Nicki Minaj was used. Minaj, short for menage a trois. Menage a trois is one girl, two guys, or two girls, one guy. Anything that is, just a smorgasbord of sex. And she pushed pills, drugs, sex. Next, Cardi B comes in lower than her, lower than in her graphic detail. In fact, Cardi B just admitted she used to drug men to steal their money, talking about having sexually transmitted disease. All of these things entice our children. So they are, by the age of 12, they're screwing their brains out. And they're carrying diseases that they never get checked out. Being raped, being molested, and not even realizing that they're being violated because the music says, the images say, this is how it's supposed to be. These people who are perpetuating this negative vibe, this negative information out to our children and some adults. These people have nannies for their children. Their children are in private schools. Their children are being given the best of everything, but they're giving your and my children the worst of everything, and they're being rewarded for it. It's true. Meritorious Manumission. We talked about politics, and we talked about entertainment. Now we're going to close with religion. And I know a lot of religious people, you get upset about what I'm saying, but just think about it for a minute, just a minute. In the black community, religion is designed to keep us happy, to keep us hopeful, and to keep us afraid. Most ministers are great motivational speakers, but horrible truth tellers, because they use the very same book that the slave master used to enslave us. They use that very same book to teach us from. They don't change it, they use it verbatim. And when I say religion, I am not just talking about Christianity, I'm talking about all of them, Islam, all of them, that refuse to dig deep enough into the book to realize that there is a hidden story underneath it. But go to a seminary school or college and graduate with a degree that says you are not qualified to teach religion because you agreed to teach it the way we said to teach it. The very first book of Genesis of the Bible is about desire. The Old Testament period is about uncontrollable desire. And when you understand, as you read the story of Adam and Eve, the story of Cain and Abel, and the story of Lot, all of these stories are about uncontrollable desire. Desire fuels the will. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. But when it's uncontrolled, we rebel against God's law. Meritorious Manumission says to teach the book so that when the people leave the church, everything that they think about God and greatness is in whiteface. Black people rarely teach religion from a black perspective. When you leave a black church feeling empowered, you still only identify with white saviors. Every religious group, every group of people made God in their image. I did a commentary on that. The man who painted the picture of Jesus that we have in our homes, he said he painted it based on him. Michelangelo painted his uncle as Jesus, drunk at that, based on their color. We're the only people that take religion and say, no, black folks, we don't have any value. And your black ministers, I was at a black church here in South Carolina, and he was teaching about the Jews. And I could tell by the way he was talking, he didn't realize he was talking about a future Jew. But he made the statement, now I'm not saying, and this is a quote, I'm not saying black folks didn't go through something in slavery, but the Jews really went through something during the Holocaust. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but Jewish people still know how to speak their language. They promised that never again would they ever be put into slavery, so they took over the entire world. Black folks don't have a language, a culture, a God, or anything. How can you say that they were treated worse than we were? Yes, they were starved. Yes, they went through atrocities, but nothing compared to black people. But in this black church on Black History Month, he flipped the tables and taught about white Jews. Meritorious manumission. You invent something, you save something, you snitch on someone. Most of us are no threat to anyone and are allowed to prosper under the rules and regulations of the way this world is set up. We're no threat. So we're given all of what this world has to give. We're given that. When you meet me, you know that I am pro-black. When you meet me, you know that I am not a racist in terms of skin color. I made that very clear. Very, very clear. Look it up on my page, the 19 report. It is not the skin color. It is the mindset that I have a problem with. The system is systematically set up in a racist way for your and my children to fail. Religion, entertainment, and politics, and anyone within that realm who has a certain amount of status and clout, even in this town, God has told me that they are workers for the enemy of the salvation and rise of the people. Be very cautious when you vote for someone. Be very careful what you allow your children to watch just because it's a black person. Be very careful what you allow them to listen to just because it's a black person. I'm going to talk to you one day about a black slave master from South Carolina who treated black people worse than any white slave master ever did. That is the narcissistic mindset of a race of people who think I am better because I have more. That's what's happening here, and I don't understand how. I don't understand how you can say it's okay for someone to mistreat and misguide your children, and you sit there and clap and be proud of their children who has been given advantages over your child, even though your child may be qualified to do what their child is doing. So every great mind that goes outside of the normal has to leave South Carolina to be successful. And they ship in the people they want because these are the people who agree with our point of view. So we'll bring in our own this, we'll bring in our own that, we'll bring in our own this. I understand the situation. We are all under control. We all got to be careful what we say. I understand that. But how do you turn your children over to Satan and say, here? and then get angry at your child for not being able to fight the wiles of the devil? How do you do that? How do you watch someone be rewarded for keeping you stupid and you say, okay, I want to be stupid? How do you do that? How can you have the courage to go out and kill somebody just because they got on a different color, they're from a different set, but then you allow people to destroy your whole family and you do nothing? And I'm not advocating violence, none whatsoever. Violence is not the answer. I'm bringing a point. So I want to close with this. We're in the religion. We talked about Meritorious Manumission. I got cut off, unfortunately. Always getting phone calls. Talked about another breach in Facebook again at the beginning. 540 million Facebook users. Your accounts have been hacked. You're being sent people messages out with no face but your name. Any messages that you may have sent, naked pictures and all of that in Messenger, they're gone. They're in the cloud. Anyone can get a hold of them. 540 million of them. We were talking today about the Meritorious Manumission, the Act of 1710 in Virginia, and how that act still applies to today. We went into politics in this county, black politics, and how it just seems to me that we should be able to vote in a politician who does something of value for all of the people. Maybe we can help you get a loan to get a home. Maybe we can help you start a legitimate business that can be lucrative. Not just paving the roads. And I don't understand all of the political realms of politics and how the money works, but I do know that you sit in a council and you vote on who gets money and who doesn't. I know that because God put me in the midst of the meeting. Tell me that I'm lying. Tell me that you didn't just vote in money for different counties in South Carolina. It happened recently. Big figures, 6 figures for here, for other counties. But when these politicians say, no, we're not going to fix these roads and these roads because they're predominantly black. And they do that. They don't use that type of language, but they do that. So we talked about politics. We talked about entertainment and how all of these black rappers are being paid top dollar to keep your children niggified. Excuse the language. I hate to use it. Meanwhile, their children are going to private schools. They have nannies. They have linguistic experts. They're learning different languages. They're learning. They got all this talent. Dr. Dre just bragged about his daughter earning her way into USC. And I'm not talking about the one in something in Columbia. Because they can. And their children are not bitches and hoes with their pants sagging. They're being trained under a different set of rules, but they're paid to keep your and my children ignorant. Aren't you angry about that at all? Doesn't that upset you at all? I know. I don't judge. Black and white doesn't matter to me. Well, that's fine. It don't matter to me either, but how I'm treated matters, and how my children are treated matters. They have different diets than your and my children. Do you know that? They do. They don't eat the garbage that we're given. Different drinking water. They can afford the best purifying systems of the best water. Your and my children don't have that. And then we talked about religion. And I'm going to close on that. In the black community, religion is designed to keep us happy, hopeful, and afraid. And that's what it does. And you can see in a small box the few churches here that have all the power players, all of the people who are in positions of power. You can see it. I am going to stop now because the calls are going to be coming in left and right, but I want to close with this. And this is out of the book of Exodus 20 and 40. And this is how religion is dominated, because we do the very opposite thing that we're told to do. Now, Many of you don't know Constantine, but Constantine was a pagan monotheist, a devotee of the sun god Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun. However, before the Milvian Bridge battle, he and his army saw a cross of light in the sky above the sun with the words in Greek that are generally translated in Latin as in hoc signo vinces. In this sign we conquer. Jesus on the cross was not a symbol of Jesus Christ. That is almost blasphemy to have Jesus on a cross on your necklace. That is people that murdered a great man on a cross and you got it on your neck. The cross did not come into play until Constantine and his group of fighters allegedly saw this symbol of the cross in the sky. The brilliance of the Bible, when you can pick it apart, is you'll see what makes sense and what doesn't. I'm closing on this. This is how the cross became the dominant symbol when talking about Jesus Christ because of Constantine. Look it up for yourself. But look at what Exodus 20 and 40 says about graven images, though. It says, and God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. That's us. Thou shalt have no other God before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any engraven images or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth below, or that is in the water under the earth. Commandments is right there. Don't make no engraven images. Don't do it. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For the Lord thy God am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the father unto the children, into the third and fourth generations of them that hate me. So when you begin to lord over people, things, situations, images, God says you hate me. You hate him. But he will show mercy unto the thousands of them that love him and keep his commandments. I'm simply trying to keep the commandments of God. It's balance. That's all it is. But I will tell you this. Anything that brings balance in this world, Satan tries to kill it. Anytime someone comes to balance the playing field, the answer is to kill it. Look it up for yourself. If it's not that bad and you're not concerned about it, why would you kill it? You always hear parents talking about, I died for my children, I died for my wife, I died for this. No, you won't. You lie. You won't do that. Because you won't even take truth and teach it to them in private. You just ignore it. Like a cancer growing in the body that the doctor tell you it's growing. The devil is a liar. You don't do anything about it for the next 5 months, and on the 6th month, you're dying from stage 4, stage 5 cancer. God forbid, but I'm using that as an example. Thank you for tuning in, Brother Johnny Jamil Salib Zamir. I know it's a hard pill to swallow. Look, I didn't ask to go. I didn't ask to be there, but God put me there. And I can prove it. I can prove what I'm talking about, especially in the political field, but I won't. But if they're not for you and me and for our children, why should we back it? Only reason we would do that is to just say we're a part of something. That's it. Thank you for tuning in, Brother Johnny, the 19 Report.